Alrighty, log in on my phone real quick. All right, welcome. Hold on, let me see. Spotlight. There we go. All right. Well, I'll spotlight myself. Still getting used to using this. I feel like an old man. All right. So, welcome to our fifth Zoom call meeting by the Tennis Mechanics. Today is our guest, our distinguished guest. We have Mr. Jamere Jenkins, who has a long resume, but I'll highlight just a few highlights. He was one of the top juniors out of the country, and then he graduated full scholarship and went to University of Virginia, where he won an NCAA championship and became an All-American. After that, he graduated 2013.
Yep, 2013.
And played professionally for a while before taking on his current position as Serena Williams' hitting partner. So if you all could give a round of applause and welcome Mr. Jamere Jenkins, who is our speaker for today.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Terrell. This is a very cool full circle moment for me because I remember you growing up with the what was that, the Westlake High School team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with you, Jermaine, Anthony. Who else was on that team?
Chris Eubanks, not Chris Eubanks, his brother Mark Eubanks.
Mark Eubanks. I just remember like really wanting to like pursue and get in touch with my tennis game after watching you guys compete. I was just like, man, not so much playing high school tennis because I felt like I was always homeschooled, but just seeing the passion that how much you guys wanted to win that, I was like, man, I gotta play for a team one day because I felt like you guys were all close, and it was a dope experience to witness.
Yeah, man. Bringing back memories. They still hold our banners up, but I think we were overshadowed a little bit by the Zach Kennedy team with Sam and Zach and Bird. They came, and they and Justin. They continued the legacy. We still are. I still want us to win some kind of way, but yeah, man, that's dope. I didn't even know. Yeah. All right, so the theme of this evening or of this Zoom call is fitness and the role that it plays in becoming a champion. Who's that? Let me go ahead and get everybody to mute their phones. Hold on just a second.
What's going on, Sean?
Oh yeah, we got the real celebrities in the building. All right. So let's get this show on the road. First question I have for you. How big of a role did fitness play in your success as a junior champion? Well, really on every level. Yeah, how big of a role did fitness play in your success?
A huge role. I feel like there were different moments throughout my career where I probably emphasized it more. When I was 12, I was more so focused on getting the foundation, the movements right. But as I progressed my game, as the opponents got harder, the fitness got a little bit more specific and detailed. And then as someone who struggled with severe cramps my whole career, it was at the forefront. So every time I walked on the court, it was always, trusting that I put in the fitness so that I don't go back to the hospital. I mean, I legit had full body cramps twice where I had to go to the hospital for 4 days. So, it was extremely important for me to be in the best shape possible, both physically and for my mental as well. Just knowing that I could go out there and play 3-4 hours if I had to.
Dope. So, and just a quick question: how did you get over that? Like, as far as fitness, like what specific did you change your diet? Did you change a certain way that you were working out? Was it more cardio? Was it more?
So it was just really honing down and paying attention to the details. What am I eating pre-match, during the match, post-match, taking care of hashing out all those details, but also knowing that it starts like 3-4 weeks in advance, that preparation, that getting into that routine, making sure I'm getting the right amount of sleep, making sure, I'm weighing myself before practice and replacing what I lose. Because I mean, especially training in Florida, you lose a lot of sweat and just understanding the way the body operates, breaking down, eating the right carbs, right proteins, getting the magnesium in my body. So, it really just came down to figuring out what works best for me and, sticking to that routine no matter what happens.
Dope. That's very important that you mentioned that how big a role diet plays in it, because a lot of times our families think, I mean, we know we're not supposed to overdo it on the potato chips and the hamburgers and the fried foods and that kind of thing, the cultural, what I'm saying, norms. But at the same time, it's like it goes beyond just eating clean. It's like there's specific things that you need to replace in your body to make sure that it works right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to get an oil change, you can't just put any oil in the car. The car takes a specific type of oil to get it to run and function like it's supposed to.
Right. And yeah, and everybody has different cars. What worked for me is not going to work for everybody. I just know I didn't want to go back to the hospital. So
yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. All right. Over the years, you've played a lot of matches, and I'm sure you've had many great moments. What's one of your favorite moments of your playing career?
I would say, I think you touched on this one already, just winning the NCAAs in that team environment, having Jermaine, my parents, there to witness it with me and them to support me. I would say that was probably a really good moment for me, and it kind of established what I felt like I could give to the pro tour. I felt like once I accomplished that feat, I was ready, especially doing that in my senior year and having that, be the next thing that I was going to. I thought that was a really important moment for me, as far as my college career went. And then on the pro side, just being in that atmosphere, playing the US Open, Wimbledon, French Open, just being there, and thinking back to when we were training at Burdette Tennis Center, or having my dad out there with us growing up at the park. So, just visualizing that, but then also, being in the moment and in those situations, I thought it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, you were a long way from Rugby Park.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Next question. All right, I have to ask this. All right, let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. What is it like practicing with Serena Williams? What is that like, and how did you end up in that situation?
Yeah, so Jermaine used to work with Venus, and when I got out of tennis, I got out of tennis for a little bit when I stopped playing, and I got into the finance world. And after like 7 months, I was just like, there was a void that I was missing, and I wanted to get back into the tennis world. And that's when Jermaine hit me up, and he was just like, there's an opportunity to work with Serena. Would you be interested? And when he first sent it to me, I thought he was kidding. But he obviously wasn't. I obviously said yes. And 5 years later, still here, still working with her. I will say that there was a time where I feel like a lot of people say that they want to be a professional tennis player, and I was one of those people. But actually seeing the way she works and seeing her routines and seeing how bad she wants it and what she's willing to go through, even though she doesn't really have to suffer like she's suffering as far as like the training goes, what she's putting her body through. I definitely feel like I put like 20-30% of what she's doing. So it's just like, I was like, I said I wanted to be a tennis player, but actually doing all the things that she's doing, being so meticulous about it, and not compromising excellence for anybody. Like, when I'm on the court with her, like she demands that level of excellence that I felt like I didn't even demand myself when I was on the tour. So it's been a huge honor, man. It's been a real pleasure to see how she works, and how bad she wants it. She doesn't. She's never satisfied.
Mm.
23 Grand Slams later, she's not satisfied still, which is amazing to see on any level, regardless of tennis,
Yeah.
whatever you do in life. You know, if you're this successful at what you do and you're still not satisfied, you know, it's a lot to be said about that.
So you would say her work ethic plays a big role in her success more than
Her work ethic, her belief, the team that she has around her. Like, she doesn't leave anything up for chance. It's like everything is placed exactly where it needs to be for her to maximize her tennis.
dope, dope. Could you I'm sorry, I'm curious now. Could you share with me just one thing that was like you saw it, or you saw it as a part of her workout, and you kind of, it was like scary, like only legends would do something like this, like one part of her workout where you saw it and you were like, man, I don't even.
So I think it's more so um, the routines that she just established that she doesn't go away from.
Got you.
One of the routines is, you know, regardless of when she finishes her matches, and then also during the tournaments, she's training that next day. Whereas, you know, a lot of people, they may play a match and be tired and kind of take that next day off, especially during the Grand Slams, because you get one day off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's training that next day as if it were, you know, as if we were back in Florida. Like, she's just like, I need to do everything that I can to make sure I'm mentally ready for this match going into tomorrow. Like, every time she steps on the court, especially in the Grand Slam, she's done everything that she can to prepare for that match. And to me, I felt like that's what separates her from a lot of the players as well. It's just like, you know, even at 39, 40 years old, she's still one of the hardest working players on tour.
Dope, dope. And that kind of feeds into the theme, right? So a
Yeah.
lot of time when people think about fitness, they think it's just physical, but it's also mental or psychological and emotional as well. Like, you condition yourself to focus and to work and to just expect and hold yourself accountable on a certain level. It's not, you can't just turn it on and turn it off, you know? It's
No,
something.
yeah, it's definitely earned, you know, and she's definitely paved the way as far as, like, you know, opening my eyes for, you know, what it actually means to be a professional in every aspect of it.
Dope, dope. All right. Well, that segues into my next question for you. We all know that tennis can be physically demanding, but it is also very mentally demanding as well. What are some of the things that you do or that you've done to condition yourself mentally for competing?
Uh, Prepare. For me, I got all my confidence from preparation, whether that's, you know, making sure I'm doing the right tennis drills, to making sure I'm doing the right fitness drills. You know, when I feel like I've done everything as far as preparation goes, down to gripping the rackets, making sure I have fresh rackets, making sure I have clothes, water bottles, all that stuff. Like, when I feel like I have a checklist that I do,
Uh,
um, for me, I feel like I'm invincible when I stepped out on the court when I was competing. So just preparation, and it's really a lot of things. I would say 99% of it you have control over.
yeah.
When I felt like I did all of those things, I felt like I was mentally and physically ready to just be out there 3, 4, 5 hours if I had to. And that's where I got all my confidence from, the preparation.
So I maybe I wish I had known this like 20 years. Well, not 20, but like
Yeah.
15 years ago. I was the worst. My coach used to be pissed off at me often because I would go into matches with like one racket strong
Yeah.
or like one. I would still win, but I think that was more of an indictment than it was a compliment, though. Like, how much better could you have been if you were prepared?
Yeah.
So kudos, man, and take notes, everybody.
Yeah,
All
for
my
sure.
students. Make sure
Yeah,
you're
no, for sure. No, when Serena goes to play a match, she goes, we have 13 rackets that she goes to play with. You know, she'll have 4 or 5 different intentions here and there, but, you know, in the back of her mind, the last thing she's worried about is not having enough weapons to compete.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's that Washington Park in me. I'll play with a stick. I actually got kicked out of my coach. I was red shirted for a season. Just yeah. And my coach made me play on his USTA team. So I went there with a wood racket. Like I just borrowed one from the pro shop. I beat some dude like 1-2, and then they wrote me up and kicked me out of USTA or the league tennis. They were like, you can't play four. It was like 4-0, 4-5 or something like that. Nothing too serious, but my coach made me do it to kind of stay, he was like, you're not playing in the season, but I still need you to play to stay sharp. So, yeah, I need to slap my own hand. That's bringing back memories. Like I'm hearing how prepared you are and what it is on that level. I'm like, man, like I was trash on that. Well, on the preparation level, I would never call myself trash. All right, dope. All right, so next question, I'll ask you, what level of tennis? Let me create the context. So I was having a conversation with somebody a while back, and we were talking about how in many cases, college athletes are in better shape than professional athletes, but professional athletes are more mature. So I'm going to pose that question to you. Which level of tennis required the most fitness or required the most preparation for you?
I think there are different phases that you go through. For example, when I was 12 years old, the physical demands it's a little bit lower, and on the professional scale, it's just like everybody can hit a forehand, everybody can hit a backhand, everybody has a good serve. But so when you're in the juniors, you might be able to exploit some weaknesses, get a couple free points there. But when you get on that professional level, it's a different beast. Especially if you get on that red clay. That's the most physical tennis court you'll ever play on, and you could play one set that lasts almost an hour and a half. I think I disagree with that statement saying that the college players are in better shape than the pro players, because the college players they got other activities that they're mandatory activities that they got to attend to. When you're a professional player, the only thing that you're worried about is that next paycheck.
Gotcha.
And you're doing everything that you can to make sure that your mind, your body, your spirit is ready for the next battle. In college, even if you lose that next day, you got to be at class at 8 a.m.
Yeah, true.
If you're a pro, you can be on the track at 8 a.m. Going back to the drawing board, figuring out what you got to do to get better. But I will say though, the level that I felt like was the most physical, was by far the on the pro level, the elite, that at the top. Just because you just get all types of guys. I play guys. It's a weird experience playing a person on the other side of the net that for sure that they're not getting as tired as you are, or that they can go a little bit longer. So you try and adjust it. You try and maybe finish points a little bit sooner, but it's a very defeated feeling when you don't think that you could go any longer, and that your opponent has a lot left in the tank. And I didn't feel that into the professional level.
Hey Jamere, could you sorry to interrupt guys, but could you just tell them about that experience? I think it was about a year ago. And I think it was a day off for Serena. You had already practiced, and could you tell them about the experience when you warmed up Tsitsipas?
Oh, I was dying in the warm up.
The guy, and then he's getting ready for a 3 out of 5 set match.
Yeah, so he's getting ready for 3 out of 5 sets. And I'm warming him up, and the warm up was maybe like 30, 40 minutes, but I'm like drenched. I'm going through like a shirt or two. And it's the same thing for Serena on her days off. I'm going through like shirt sweating, but they're so conditioned. It's like become such a habit for them to work at that level. So they're used to it, So I think that pro level is by far more in shape than the college level. Nothing against the college level, but I just think as a professional athlete, you just have more time to dedicate to your craft.
For sure. And to be fair, the conversation was more in reference. It was a general conversation, but we were specifically talking about basketball and football players and how sometimes they're in better shape. But, you know, you got somebody like a LeBron, like, I don't care who you are, what level you're playing, you're not going to outwork him. You know what I'm saying? You're not working as hard as him.
But I don't think that's because LeBron is like the strongest or the most fit. I mean, LeBron he pays like $1 million just to take care of his body every year for recovery purposes, for whatever. So I mean, he's working just as hard and also working smarter than a lot of the guys as well. So it works both ways.
Yeah, a lot. I think there's something to be said too, like just respecting your body. You know what I'm saying? Like I make jokes about it sometimes when people ask, like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, man, I sell my body. I use my body to make money. You know what I mean? Like I can't get injured playing basketball because I got to go out and hit with 6 clients tomorrow. Yeah. But the reality of it is, man, like when you start to see yourself as the commodity, or your physique, your shape as the commodity, you will take care of it a lot more. You'll watch out what you're eating. You'll be meticulous about, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
Yeah, no, that saying will never get old. You take care of your body will take care of you.
Yeah, man. And it's weird because, like, I don't know if this happened to you, but like you see some guys that you went to college with, right? And you hit 30 and it's like, man, what happened to you? Like, you look you look old. And then you walking around like, I'm a little bit bigger in some areas, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm still grinding it out on the tennis court. I can go out and play 3 sets with no problem, or I'm not much heavier than I was when I was in college. But some people, like, because I don't think that age makes you out of shape. I think after a while, that length of time of inactivity makes you out of shape. You get what I'm saying? So like if you've been active from 0 to 18, and then from like 24 to 35, you've done absolutely nothing but sit in a cubicle or watch TV and watch Netflix. It's like, man, you spent almost like the same amount of time as you were active being inactive. It's you know what I mean? It's not age.
I got some great advice. I mean, it was a great advice this past weekend, and pretty much I'm super old school in the sense that, like, if I'm around like some older people talking, I try and soak it up. Like I love being around my elders and just listen to them conversate. And I felt like I always walk out with some gems. And I was asking this guy who he has 2 sons that are NFL players. So I was just like, you know, how do you raise and train NFL players? Like what's the recipe for that? And he was just like, that's it. You just got to learn the recipe, learn the ingredients for what you want to do. You know, if you want to be a professional tennis player, learn everything that makes a professional tennis player that person, you know, as far as fitness, coaching, the drills. It's like, you just gotta, if you want to, just, it doesn't even have to apply to tennis. If you want to live a healthy lifestyle, what's the recipe for that?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I thought that really hit home for me. And just as far as, like, you know, the discipline that it takes and everything that comes with it.
All right, shameless plug. Well, this is an ingredient of the recipe, is exposing the parents and inspiring the kids so that, you know, you're hearing it from the man himself, what it takes to be on that next level. Mm-hmm. All right, next question. What are some of the things that you do to keep in shape right now? Like, you're not necessarily preparing to play a professional match, but at the same time, I'm sure you don't want to get the dad bod without having the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are some of the things you do to kind of maintain where you are?
Yeah, my fitness looks completely different than what it did 10 years ago. For me, it's my job right now is to not miss a tennis ball. Mm-hmm. So you know, I do things centered around that, to where, you know, if I know Serena's not going to be training, I'm still staying sharp by hitting with other, you know, ATP players or I'll do freelance coaching on the side to make sure I'm still sharp. So just being on that tennis court, a couple of hours a day, that's kind of what my fitness is for the moment. And then if I know I'm going to be away for an extended period of time, I'll hit the gym and work on my strength.
Nice. All right. This is an awkward question. But I'm going to ask it anyway. What's one of your favorite tennis players and why? Who is one of your favorite tennis players and why? It's awkward because I know like I have favorites, but at the same time, it's like, don't ask me who's my favorite. I'm a player too. I can still play,
Yeah, no, my favorites has always just been my bros, my older brothers, Jermaine, Jackie. I felt like growing up watching Jackie, seeing that serving volley style game. He had a sweet one-hand backhand. And then Jermaine, just seeing this man, he has such mechanical strokes.
Right.
Seeing him muscle the ball, I felt like there were two different game styles, but they were so fun to watch, and to watch them compete as well. So those have always been my two favorites.
That's dope. Yeah, Jermaine is definitely a machine, and Jackie was definitely like poetry in motion. Somebody brought him.
Yeah, they were like polar opposites, but it was fun to watch them play.
Yeah, man. Okay. Last regular question. Then I have a lightning round for you. I didn't send you these, so it's a surprise. All right. But my last regular question is: at what point did you realize that being in better shape would make you a better tennis player?
Probably sitting on that hospital bed after a full body cramp. Yeah, no, I full body cramp 2 times. Both times I had to go to the hospital for about 4 days. And yeah, I mean, it was just a moment of realization that, I'm not doing enough to compete at this level. I'm not taking care of my body to where, I feel like I could go out and play a 4 or 5 hour match and be okay. So that was definitely once at the junior level and again at the professional level that it happened. Both times super hot, super humid. Miami both times. So I mean, those 2 times, it was just a stark realization that I'm just not doing enough.
That's tough. Pain. I always say it, man. Pain is the best teacher. Once you experience a level of pain, it's like an intelligent person is going to say, I never want to feel that way again. And they're going to do everything in their power to prevent that from happening to them again. That's how all my kids have pretty decent serves. And I had tendonitis in my rotator cuff from the age of like 15 to 20. And it was because I had horrible contact points. And just because I've been on the tennis court since my whole life, I just found my body had adjusted to the racket head speed. So it was like I had a big serve, but it was like it had some flaws that was really secretly tearing my shoulder up. And I got to a certain point and it was like, man, there's got to be a better way. And so I trained, I researched and I trained and I found out, about contact points. And now I live by that. Like I coach by contact points, or contact points first. And once you find out what can get rid of the pain, again, if you're an intelligent person, you're going to stick to it and make that like, this is your new way.
100% agree.
Yep. All right. So to the lightning round. So basically this is kind of like an either or situation. So I'm going to give you 2 options and you're going to tell me which you prefer and why. All right. So the first one, being that the theme of tonight's Zoom call has been about fitness, would you rather play a 2 out of 3 set match or a 3 out of 5 set match?
I would rather play right now. I would rather play a 2 out of 3.
in peak hands, Jamere, in peak condition, which would you favor? 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 3?
Yeah, definitely 3 out of 5. I'm playing a 3 out of 5 match. That means I'm at a Grand Slam.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't think about that. I was thinking because I know for me, I'm perpetually rusty. So the longer the match goes, the better it is for me because I get better the longer we play. I've always been like that. I'm a slow starter, but like the longer it goes, I get better. So I'm especially when, and I teach my kids, like, especially when you know that you're in good shape and you can outlast a player, or you have like your conditioning is better. A longer match is always going to favor you. A longer, more athletic match where it requires longer rallies, that's going to favor you because your shape is going to be what puts you over the top.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. That's definitely a tactic that a lot of guys use on tour. You know, on a 3 out of 5 set, you know, if that first set is 7-6 and that other guy is looking over there, is like, yeah, even if you lose that set, you know, you may win the next couple of sets, you know, just based off that physically, yeah.
You lose that first set 7-6, but win the next 2 3-2.
Right, exactly. And that happens all the time.
Yeah. All right. Next question. College tennis or pro tennis?
For me, I prefer college tennis, just being on a team atmosphere, playing for someone other than yourself, for the school, for your teammates. I just had a really good experience there, and I was more successful in college tennis than the pro. So I'm gonna go with college on that one.
Nice. I think also a lot of people don't, like, when we're kids, and I'm not discouraging anybody. I have 1 or 2 that have pro aspirations. But a lot of people they see the Grand Slams and they think this is what pro tennis looks like. And it's like, that's like a very small percentage of the actual people who are playing pro tennis. Pro tennis looks like getting on a flight and traveling and doing a lot of stuff by yourself and not being able to go out with friends, or your friends becoming people that you travel with from tournament to tournament, and not having a lot of money and not having a lot of peace, because it's like, if I don't start winning some matches, then this is going to be over with really quickly.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, if you know that that's what you want,
yeah,
my thing is be the best at it that you can be. You know, I felt like I wasted a lot of time in my career not holding myself accountable for what it means to be professional. And then that's why it goes back to what I said. Now that I see Serena doing it and what it actually means to do it, you know, I wish I could have taken, you know, what I know now and transfer it over to my like 22-year-old self playing on tour.
That's big. All right. Next question: hard court or clay court?
Hard court. A slow hard court. I say that though to say that I feel like playing in the U.S. you're playing you're playing on hard a lot, and so I felt like my first time going overseas and playing on red clay, even though I felt like I was playing great tennis because I didn't grow up on it, I was getting dusted off easy. And it took me a while to adjust. It took me there was a learning curve there. And that slow hard court, I felt invincible on. I felt like it was hard for people to hit winners. I felt like I could play my game, settle in the match. Definitely prefer a slow hard court over a clay court any day.
Okay. All right. When it comes to fitness, would you rather have to do 100 push-ups or 100 laps?
100 laps around what? A tennis court?
Around a track.
Oh, just give me the push-ups. I can knock those push-ups out easy. Yeah.
Oh man, you're not a marathon man. You'll run all day on the court, but not if you don't have to, huh?
Yeah, no, I was never great with long distance. Luckily, to be a great tennis player, you don't really have to. So
fair enough. All right. In your training regimen, would you prefer pre-practice conditioning, strength and conditioning, or post-practice strength and conditioning? And why?
I didn't have a preference. Well, actually, it depends on what I'm getting ready for. If I knew that it was a training block and there weren't any tournaments coming up, I didn't mind practicing tired because I knew you eventually need to. But if I'm trying to get ready for a tournament, I want to feel good. I feel like as tennis players, we like to feel good while we're out there, even though, during the tournament, you don't really. I mean, it's actually counterproductive to worry about how you feel. But while I'm practicing, I don't want to, feel too broken down from strength and conditioning workouts. I kind of want it to be fresh, and then go strength and conditioning after that. So,
Okay.
I would just say it just depends on which training block I'm at. But off, if I had to make a choice, I would say practice first and then conditioning afterwards.
Okay. All right. I got two more questions. And while I'm asking these two questions to all of my participants, go ahead and start. We're about to go into the Q&A section of the Zoom call. So go ahead and start sending me your questions to ask. And after we finish these two questions, three questions. Yeah, this one's going to be good. After we finish these three questions, then we're going to go into your questions. All right. So the next one, which one do you feel like, let me not ask too many words. Speed or strength?
Speed.
Okay. And why?
It was just always a part of my game. I was never somebody that was going to come out and hit 20 aces per match, but I was going to get to every single ball. It's going to be tough to hit winners. It's just always been a part of my game, who I am, the identity on the court.
So it's definitely a different mentality that goes along with that skill set as well. Like when you're fast and can get to everything, then that takes some of the pressure off of you to be a shot maker. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to be more of a, let me get everybody to mute their mics. You have to be more of a strategic as far as picking your moments. It kind of favors the counterpuncher type game style. Mm-hmm. When you're a bully, when you have weapons galore, it's like, man, I can go big whenever I feel like it. But the mindset is totally different from those two.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Next question: singles or doubles?
I actually had a better doubles career than singles. I prefer singles, but doubles is definitely a lot more relaxing and stress-free for me. Just because you have somebody else out there to talk to. When you're playing singles, it's just you. You're responsible for everything. When you have doubles, it's someone that can take a little bit of that off your back.
Didn't you win the Junior US Open, or you got to
I lost in the finals of the Junior US Open, but I won the NCAAs in doubles.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Dope. All right. And speaking of doubles, the question of the century: who would win a doubles match between the Jenkins brothers or the Williams sisters?
I would say, you know what? It just depends on what Jermaine shows up. I feel like Jermaine, there's a lot of Jermaines that show up. He can play some good tennis.
You see, I'm trying to be respectful. You see, I'm trying to be respectful of, of the podcast here. So, you know what I mean? So low key, I've been carrying Jamere his whole career in doubles.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? So, we've been playing prize money events, I had to talk him off a ledge a few times, But yeah, it's all good. I'm gonna let him have that one.
Yeah, so it just depends on which Jermaine shows up and how much I can tolerate. He's been on different teams over there, so I can't speak to the other teams. But on this team, we demand excellence.
I dig it. I knew that one was gonna stir the pot a little bit. All right. Well, that does it for our lightning round. All right, let's get to some listener questions. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Question number one. Someone asked, why do they call you Hands?
Yeah, when I was little, I had huge hands. They were super big. My auntie pretty much just coined it from the start, and I've been Hands ever since.
Nice. Yeah. All right. What is your go-to snack food that you eat before playing?
That depends on
The healthy one.
no, it depends on what part of the day that the match is scheduled for.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna eat the same thing I would in the morning for a morning match as I would for an evening match.
So give us an
Yeah, I
example.
mean, if it's in the morning, I'll do bagel, egg whites, orange juice, fruit, and like if I'm still hungry after that, do oatmeal or something.
For a snack or like a full meal?
If I need to eat before the morning match, I'll
Uh-huh.
have those morning meals. If
Like
I
a
have a
snack
match.
in between, like if you're in between sets, where do you go
Oh,
to?
sorry. Yeah. Bananas. It was tough for me to get down food while I was playing, so
Okay.
I had to use the gels. I forget what was the name of the gel that I was using.
Were they amino acids or were they protein, like carb gels?
It was carbs.
Okay.
But get back with me. I can find those gels and send you the names. But for me, I had to use gels and soft stuff that was easy on my stomach because it was tough for me to eat food while I was playing.
Got you. All right. My next question comes from Kadir, who says, where do you feel like you get your inspiration for your game style from? Did it come from your coach? Was it from a specific player that you were emulating, or was it purely original? About your game style.
Yeah, it was coach and myself, just understanding my identity on the court. Like I said before, I'm not the type of person that's going to go out and try and play like a Riley Opelka or someone that's serving big. When I was on tour, there was a player, I think his name was Juan Monaco
Juan Monaco, yeah.
Monaco, yeah. So he was one of the players that my coach and I were trying to look at and kind of emulate his game. So it was part me understanding what I'm good at, how to execute my playing style, and then looking at people who play similar ways and seeing what makes them good, what makes them tick, and kind of going from there, but using their game as a base.
Yeah, I've been having a similar conversation with a lot of my kids recently as well. Like, correct, I would like to hear your thoughts on this, but your game style, doesn't that have to be compatible with your personality as well? Because like if you're impatient, it's going to be challenging to teach you to be a counterpuncher. Or, if you're impatient, you don't like waiting, you want things to happen now, then that's likely going to express itself when you're playing points. You're probably going to pull the trigger as fast as you can and try to go for the bigger shot. So wouldn't it make more sense would you say that the game style is often compatible with the player's personality?
It can be. It's I think when you're dealing with individuals, everybody operates different. So I feel like just because you're impatient doesn't mean you need to switch your game style. It means you also just find a way to execute and be impatient. If you're impatient, you want to pull the trigger earlier. All right, find a way to hit deeper balls so you can get the ball you want to pull the trigger on. I feel like there's ways around it. I feel like, you could say that Serena's impatient. She plays matches where, the unforced errors are high, but that doesn't mean you stop going for your shots. You still go for your shots, and you adjust throughout the match. Find times of when to be patient, when to maybe pull off, based on court positioning or how you. I feel like every time you step out on the tennis court, you're going to be feeling different. But I think that's just working with the individual, figuring out, when to be patient, when to, go for your shots.
Yeah, I dig it. All right. Next question comes from Ravella. As it relates to fitness, what percentage would you recommend for strength training versus cardio?
I think that's where you need to. This is actually one of the things I was going to give you guys advice on at the end, but test yourself. figure out if you need to get stronger, if you need to do a little bit more cardio, and then lay out your schedule for the week. You know, Monday, you should be having a consistent schedule. Monday, strength, Tuesday, agility, Wednesday, day off, Thursday, back to strength. And then, you know, whatever it is that you need working on, that you need to improve, have that Friday always be tailored towards that. Even if you do strength the day before, if you know you need to improve your strength, have that scheduled on Friday. But you should always be, you know, on a similar schedule every week and have everything laid out. So it's hard. I can't give you a percentage because everybody's different, you know. For me, it was always working on more so cardio. I felt like I was pretty strong. But for someone else, they may already have that cardio base and need to, you know, have more strength, agility workout scheduled in.
Got you. And question, how do you test for what you need to spend more time on? Like, is it, I don't know if you would think like we do, sometimes in practice, we'll hit like 1,000 balls and then play points afterwards. So like, is it after about 300 to 400 balls, if you find yourself slowing your racket head speed down or your footwork slowing down, is that the indicator? Or is it like, okay, well, we played.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of resources that you guys can get that will show you. I mean, tennis is, at the end of the day, tennis is about motor skills, you know. So those are the things that you need to test. How strong are you? How fast are you? I mean, how fast can you run a 20-yard sprint? You know, the spider drill where you're sprinting, like you can time yourself on those. You know, how many push-ups can you do? How far can you throw a medicine ball? Things like that you can test, you know, and you could test on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and compare. You know, if you're where you are to, you know, 2 weeks from now, see where those numbers are and continue to work on those numbers, you know. And then if you want to see how strong you are, you go to see how your 1 rep max, you know, how much can you lift? And then from those numbers, you put it into your regular workouts and you should be improving over time.
Nice. Okay. All right. My next question comes from Brooke, who asks, what specific workouts would you recommend to help with agility?
I don't know any specific workouts off the top of my head, but this is a good time to plug in and say that, you know, after this meeting is over, if you guys do have any specific questions, like for workouts or anything, get my email from Terrell, and then I'll be able to, you know, respond with specific agility workouts for you.
Matter of fact, and if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and type it in the chat, or if you can type it in the chat. Either way. All right. Next question comes from Tanya Blanks, who says, "Think back to your younger self. What would you have wanted your parents to say or not say after a match?" Oh, that's a tough one. Mama Jenkins, boy, ain't nobody telling her what to say.
She let us have it. I think at the end of the day, if it's not helping or giving me confidence or supporting me to the full max, don't say it. You know, if I'm not gonna walk away from the conversation feeling more motivated, feeling like I'm on the right track, or, you know, even if there's a level of discipline that needs to be, you know, have an important conversation, like, you know, is this what I really want to do? Or I feel like a lot of parents, they want to win more so than the kids sometimes. But I also feel like, you know, it's tough to tell a parent what to say, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are financing the dream.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see a kid, you know, the parents when they want it more than the kid. But I would just say, you know, trust the process, trust your kid. I feel like your kid is probably going to be the most close to you. And like I said, just, you know, if it's not feeding the kid confidence, don't say it.
That's dope. You said the magic word. It's been, I won't lie, man. Some of my kids have been they've been stressful, not with a T, with a C. They've been stressful. But after talking to some veteran homies like Jay or Tori, and even Coach Greg, they're like my trusted counsel. I know some other coaches that are dope, but like, man, those guys I trust because they have a similar perspective and a positive, outlook on things. And it's like, man, there's no way around the process. Like, you can do everything that you want to do. You can do everything you think you're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, man, the process takes time, and it's going to click when it clicks for different people. The only thing you can do is just stay in it and trust that the process will yield the results from your years of investing in it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question comes from, well, they active tonight. I like it. All right. Do you have any tips for getting better when you don't have a full pro level team? I.e., like maybe some diet tips or training tips, etc. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, you don't. Yeah, obviously, it helps to have that full team, but like we said, as far as the testing, that's the number one thing. Not the number one. That's a very important thing that you could do on yourself, and you don't need a team around you for that. Like I said, doing those specific drills, seeing how strong you are, how fast you are, how long you can run. Those things you can time by yourself and test those things. Because I feel like if you know where you are, just being in good standing, knowing where your body is, you know where you can take it as far as where you're trying to go.
And if I'm hearing you correctly, more so than it is a specific thing, it's you need to find some metrics. You need to have metrics, and just once you kind of create those, like once you find out where you are, just keep pushing the boundary to know that you're growing, or to know that you're, if it took me.
And so I'll answer that question as well with something that I wanted to share with you guys, which are, I think I wrote it down here. So these are the 5 things that you can do right now to become a better tennis player and make the most of where you are right now. So the first thing we talked about, to test yourself. Tennis is a game where your motor skills need to constantly be trained and improved. So if you know where your body is, if you know how fast you are, if you know where you need to go, make a plan for that down the road. So, and I feel like every week, every 2 weeks, you should be testing your body to seeing where you are, seeing how you can improve. The second thing you could do right now is plan and goal set. At the start of every season that we do with Serena, she sits down, she writes out her goals, which winning Grand Slams. She writes out the goals, but we also have a schedule. We know what tournaments we're going to play, and we know which tournaments that we're going to train through. So right now, everybody should know exactly what tournaments are out in the next week or two. So then how to train. If you can't train the same way for a tournament that's 1 week away versus a tournament that's 4 weeks away, but you can put it in your schedule to make sure, all right, at the end of this 4-week block, I have this tournament. So you schedule your training based on that. And yeah, if you can't do a full schedule calendar year, then try and go at least 3 months of planning. And if you can't do 3 months, if you don't know your tournament schedule, then you should be on a training schedule. Improving your body. The third thing is be super intentional about your practices, and also be unapologetically selfish when it comes to your tennis. If you lost a match and you had a weak backhand or something, that whole week, regardless if you got a friend that plays with you, they just want to work and hit forehands or hit down the middle, you say no. I need to do this specific drill because this is what I need to be working on. So just be super intentional every time you come. I see a lot of juniors. They'll come out and they'll just hit the ball down the middle, hit cross courts, take some serves, hit some volleys, and that'll be it. And they'll seemingly have a good practice, but there was no purpose to it. So be deliberate, be intentional, be honest with yourself about what you need to work on. If you know that you're losing matches, why you're losing matches, address that. I feel like that's one thing that you don't need a whole team around you to see that. You just be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable for that. The fourth thing is, we talk about practicing strokes. We talk about training our bodies a lot, but how often are you guys training your mind? You don't want to wait until you get to a tournament and in a stressful situation and then say, oh, I need to be doing this. I need to be working on my routines. While you're in practice, from the first ball, start visualizing, what that feels like at a tournament. Start visualizing, being on the bench on the changeover. Start visualizing being, if you're like me, I got upset in practice, especially when I missed a lot or if I missed when I shouldn't have. But, go to your routines. For me, it was always going to my towel, even if I had to scream at my towel, inside my towel. That worked really well for me. Everybody has their own routines. For Serena, she needs to turn her back away for a little bit, kind of get collected, and then come back to the line. But every time you step on that line, be intentional about what you want to do. Have your routines, but train your mind too, because your mind is the most important asset that you have on the tennis court. And the last thing is make sure you guys are journaling. And that goes to holding yourself accountable as well. Terrell shouldn't be repeating the same things at practice. If he's telling you certain things at the end of that practice, okay, here's what made this a good training session. Here's what I need to improve on. Here's what I can focus on away and off the court that's going to help that next training session. And then also, it doesn't even have to be practice. After the matches, write down, why was this a good tennis match? What can I take away from this tennis match? Because you'd be surprised how many players you play that are similar. If you're on a tennis court or if you're playing a match, oh, I'm playing a pusher. Okay, let me go to my notes. All right, I played this pusher, a couple weeks ago. Here's what I did to beat that person. And just have that journal ready. Have a match journal, have a training journal, and then have a personal journal. All this stuff that we're talking about, what makes it so great information, it doesn't apply to tennis. It applies to life. Yeah. Like, just being super diligent, being on a schedule, having your routines, waking up on in College Park with Miss Jenkins, it was mandatory to make your bed up every morning.
Yeah.
So my mom always told me, how you leave the house is how your trip is going to be. So, I carried that all the way to, me being on the road by myself at the hotel. I always make sure the room was spotless clean. In my mind, I was like, all right, I'm about to have a spotless clean match.
Yeah.
No, that was just a routine that I just helped to get me prepared and get my mindset. So make sure y'all are taking, like I said, you don't need a training team for all of those things. Those are 5 things that you guys can implement today, right now, and that's going to help you not only be a better tennis player, but all those things will get you ahead in life as well.
Oh man, that's some good stuff. I added the notes in the chat. I'm not quite as neat as I wanted it to be, but you should have been taking notes yourself.
Yeah,
some of that stuff.
I think you said it was recorded, so.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. Next question we have comes from. I think we're doing good on time, so we should be able to get through all of them. All right. How are you affected when Serena changes a coach? Has it happened since you've been working with her?
No. But I'm not affected. Serena's the one that pays my salary, so yeah, not affected.
Okay. All right. Next question. Are there any notable differences in training between U.S. players and versus other players or players of other nationalities?
No, I would say, everybody has similar goals. I feel like when you reach a certain level, especially the top level, everyone's working towards the same goals. I do think there may be a little bit more distractions in the U.S., but for the most part, there's not really noticeable differences.
Okay. All right. Next question. What are the things that we don't see when watching matches on TV? Like, in parentheses, they have a margin over the net or changeover drama or routines that may help people stay calm. What are the things that happen on commercial?
For me, you really see the ball speed, height, and facial expressions. You like on TV, they don't really show how taxing and grueling some of those matches can be. But I also think watching it in person, especially if you have aspirations to play professional or on college level, definitely go to those matches. And it's a different feeling when you're in person, being in that atmosphere. And I tell people all the time, you know, my first time playing the US Open was at the US Open. I felt like my first time should have been like when I was younger, being in that atmosphere and kind of taking it all in then, because it's a lot to take it all in. And then you got to compete after that. You know, it's a lot to take in mentally. So yeah, I would encourage everybody, regardless of what you want to do, go see how it's done at the highest level and see what that feeling is like. It'll definitely change your perspective as far as like on the it'll motivate you a lot more.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's nothing like watching it on TV.
Yeah, exposure is one of the, I think that's something that we miss in our community as well. And it has, like I've worked with some kids who were extremely talented, and because some coach gave them a horrible idea of what it takes to play, to be more competitive and then play on a high performance level. It was just too stressful. Like he thought he had to be perfect, like never miss a shot and all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, like you're taking this from somebody who hasn't done it. And so it's a skewed perspective of what you're really training and working for. Yeah. And then also like a lot of our kids, or a lot of our coaches as well. And I think me and Jermaine were talking about this before, is like, how do you really prepare a kid for somewhere you've never gone, for somewhere you've never been, for something that you've never experienced? How do you adequately, you know, prepare? It's like trying to walk somebody to somewhere that you've never been. How do you know the way? How do you,
like to learning the recipe?
Yeah.
You know, having these conversations, you know, it goes back to talking to people who's been there, who can share their experiences. And you know, the more information you have, the more equipped you are to navigate it, because it's difficult. I mean, regardless of what you want to do, it's not going to be easy. But my thing is, you know, just strive for the best, strive to be the best at it.
For sure. And I think we've come to the last question of the night from Miss Naomi. And she asks, what was your biggest achievement in juniors, and at what age did you achieve this?
Biggest achievement, it was maybe that US Open doubles run.
Okay.
Maybe 17 years old. Not sure. Either that or just having that, getting in the top 20 in the world in juniors was a big achievement for me as well. And that was
Didn't you go semifinals, Orange Bowl, or finals or something like that?
Yeah,
Orange Bowl,
semifinals and finals of Orange Bowl as well.
Oh, this Orange Bowl is not worth mentioning. It wasn't.
Well, I mean, I said top 20 in the juniors. You don't get top 20 by having some good results here and there.
True. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this Zoom call. Do you have any final statements that you would like to leave? I know they kept asking questions, hitting on your 5 things. But do you have anything else that you want to leave them with in closing?
Yeah, I will say that it definitely takes a village, and there are a lot of resources that you guys could use, and please feel free to add me to that list of resources. I gave my email in the chat. I know one person had a question about specific agility drills. So feel free to shoot me an email, and let's definitely try and reach out. I feel like I do a lot of these, and I feel like I don't get a lot of kids that really take advantage of, you know, me being an open book and me sharing my experiences. So I definitely am here to help anybody who's striving to, you know, maximize what they want to do on the tennis scale, as far as, you know, playing college tennis, playing professional tennis. I definitely feel like I've seen a lot of have experience when it comes to that. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And so, yeah, I just want to leave you guys with that and make sure that you're taking advantage of, you know, Terrell as a coach and, you know, and his experiences as well.
All righty. Well, it's been another great Zoom call. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Jenkins. Congratulations, newlywed as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
On your new journey. You have our support, and if there's anything that we can do to support you in your endeavors as well, man.
Yeah, of course. And then next time I'm back in Atlanta, I definitely coming to the academy.
For sure. We're based at Sugar Creek. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hit me up and we'll have a court waiting for you.
Okay, definitely hold me to that for sure. I will see y'all at Sugar Creek.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you all so much. We do this monthly, and yeah, see you again next month. Well, I'm gonna see my academy tomorrow. Y'all better be there. Maybe come a little bit early because we started running miles trying to get this fitness together. So y'all come a little bit early so y'all can get that mile out the way. But yeah, man, y'all enjoy and have a great evening.
All right, thanks everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.